He is Brad Nessler. How are you, Brad?
Hey, buddy. I thought when we talked last time I couldn't get a game that was more compelling.
Right.
And then last week happened.
I don't know what's more, jaw-dropping. The 100-yard pick six off of Harris is back, or the fact that the last play that did in Alabama was its umpteenth penalty that came on something that was fundamental.
Oh, man.
That was a shocker, Brad, huh?
Really a shocker. First of all, Alabama is usually not that sloppy to have 13 penalties. And then to get outfoxed, if that's the case, Gus has got a lot of tricks in his bag, and he was saving that one. And you could see the confusion, and Gary was on top of it that they were never going to get their guys off the field. I was worried that they're going to snap it to Bo Nix. I was wondering why Jalen Waddle wasn't back in punt return formation. I had all these things running through my mind, and I kept thinking, just get a punt returner back there. Even if they snap the ball, make him play deep safety. I don't care. Make sure Waddle's on the field. I want one more play here, So it was wild, but I don't know if I've ever done a game that had that many ebbs and flows, and I'm sure I've done that many games that have had that many lead changes, but I don't remember one lately,
I am mandated to ask this question from my other gig as I look across the steering wheel for February, March, and April. What sort of Tua did you come across last week when you were getting ready for Alabama and Auburn? So much conversation that he's going to be ready to throw by March, and that now he's also maybe thinking about not going in the draft. What did you hear?
That's a really good question. I cannot see him not going. Just the situation at quarterback there. They got a guy coming in. They got his little brother there. They got Mac Jones there. Not like he's going to get beat out. I don't mean it that way. But what else can he do, really? I mean, other than he's already won a national championship. What's he going to do if he doesn't win? He's not going to win the Heisman, but who cares? I mean, that doesn't matter. He's going to be a zillionaire, and I think that it's his time to go, and I think he'll be a very high draft choice. I at one point thought he'd be number one for sure. I don't think he will be now. I think that'll go to Joe Burrow or maybe Chase Young, or it depends on who needs what and who's in what spot.
Right.
But man, I'd go. If I was him, I'd go. And if coming back's not going to do him any good. Now coming back will do Jake Fromm some good. At the beginning of the season, I thought he'd be in the mix of those guys, and Jake's got to come back now after the season he's had. Not that it's been bad. They're 11-1, and he's a hell of a kid and a really good quarterback. But statistically, he doesn't match up with these other dudes that are going to come out in front of him. So I expect Georgia's quarterback to come back and Alabama's quarterback to go out.
Well, how do you think Saban might handle it if some of his top prospects for the NFL come up to him and say we're not playing in the bowl game? How do you think he'll?
Boy, I don't know. We asked. I wish I would have asked that to some of the Alabama kids. I asked the Auburn kids last week because they were talking about there were so many of them that came back, Derek Brown and Marlon Richardson and their whole secondary basically, and they're all seniors, and they were in the same room with us. And they said, we decided to come back as a group because we wanted to do something special, and we wanted to leave a legacy for the next group of guys like K.J. Britt, their middle linebacker, is a junior, and they said the whole season he'd be saying, this is my defense. And Derek Brown and Marlon Richardson would look at him and say, you kidding me, man? This is our defense. You can have it next year.
Right.
You can make all that bragging stuff next year. But, they said they all wanted to come back and kind of leave it to the next group of Auburn players. And I said, so are you going to play in the bowl game? And all five of them nodded yes. Now, did I ask that to Alabama? No, I didn't. And they're, that's a choice that a lot of people are going to have to make, and that's something we're going to have to put up in our business. Started with McCaffrey and those guys. I mean, he was supposed to be in our game a couple years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, whatever it was.
Right.
And then it was Chubb at NC State, and so and that's doing the Sun Bowl of all things, God, Rich.
Right.
That's not even like a major deal. It is to us, but it's not one of the big bowl games. So unless you're playing for the championship and you're in the college football playoffs, there's going to be a lot of kids that are going to say, I got to get ready for the draft, and I'm sorry, coach. And I think most coaches, I would say to them, hey, you put your time in for this school and this team, go ahead, and come with us on the bowl game if you want to, but, don't go take the chance of getting hurt.
Yeah, Fournette.
That's just going to be the nature of the business.
I agree with you. I agree with you, Brad. And maybe until, the money may start flowing in for name, likeness, and image, If players can go and get the bread on the table and start a career that can actually make them generationally wealthy, they can't put it at risk. And it was Fournette before McCaffrey too.
Right. Yep.
And it's funny. It's not, although it's not funny to the Alabama fans I know. I've told them all that I know. Welcome to the rest of us. This is just, welcome to the way the rest of us, or mostly the rest of us in college football, live. Is there? How do you think Alabama and the fan base there? And I understand Saban is who he is, but it's now been a couple years since they've actually won the SEC, right, Brad? So the question I have for you is, how will this all go down in Tuscaloosa? Do you think? Watching,
I don't think it's going to be that much different. I think it is in the fans' perception, and I think there's people out there that are saying, Nick Saban's lost it, and his defense isn't any. Come on, I mean, there were some guys before the Auburn game that wanted to get a picture with Gary and I, and they were Alabama fans, and they go, "Now give us a chance today, will you?" And I said, "How many chances do you want? You just keep winning championships every year. I mean, come on." But I mean, when you're that spoiled. You're going to have people that are going, we lost 2 games, man. We lost 2 games. And what if they lose the bowl game they go to? We lost 3 games. It's Armageddon. It's the end of football as we know it. It's not. They're going to be good again. He's got number 2 recruiting class coming in. He's got a great quarterback coming in. He's got a couple pretty good ones already there. Gets Trey Sanders back in the backfield. Najee Harris will go pro, but that doesn't matter. The defense will be better because those young guys will have grown up. I don't know how many of the guys in the secondary are going to stay. That's going to be a big dent. And Jennings and Terrell Lewis will probably leave. So, yeah, they're going to lose a lot on defense again. But I don't know if their defense is ever going to be dominant again. I think, the game has changed, man. If you can hold people to 20 or something like that, you don't have to be a 10-point-a-game thing like they were for so many years. Although I've got a team this week that's 10.4 in Georgia, so I don't know what I'm talking about. But anyway, I just think the game has changed, and, I think pretty soon we're going to have conference champions that have 2 losses, and we're going to have teams in the college football playoff with 2 losses. It's really hard, man, to go undefeated or just 1 loss.
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live, or download the Rich Eisen Show app.